Today I'm fishing with a good friend, Trevor Fitzgerald of Fitzgerald Rods. When it comes to technical fishing, I don't know if anyone gets it more right than Fitzgerald Fishing. These guys know how to build rods for all of us that love slinging artificial lures. Well, Trev, today we're gonna actually give away not only a lot of bass fishing knowledge, but we're gonna show the audience something that's coming up in the product lineup with these new setups that's probably going to be, well, a game changer, if you will, for the inshore anglers. So from the very beginning of my relationship with Trevor, knowing that he is a serious bass head and I'm a serious inshore guy, we wanted to design rods that would satisfy both saltwater and freshwater anglers. These rods are going to be designed to throw all the, what I would call, typical lures that you would have in a saltwater tackle bag.
Yep, 100%.
And who better to design it than a guy that fishes with artificials every day,
Yeah.
Trevor Fitzgerald.
Ooh. I got it.
He's running with it.
Did you see that? I think he's going to town.
He just picked it up and just moved it.
Just a fine specimen of a Smith Lake bass, boys.
You want that boom.
A little bit thicker.
A little healthier.
Yeah, he's out there eating bait all day. Yeah, there's some busting right there, CA, on bait. See him?
Yeah, I'm gonna pick that minnow rod up again.
They were doing that earlier when we first got out here, but I think there's several groups of them that do that. I've seen that out here quite a bit.
Turning my skiff into a bass boat.
I could have rods laying all over this thing by the end of the day.
Sometimes Bernie Schultz will go fishing with me and it's like, he's got so many rods laying around, you gotta watch where you walk.
Yeah.
Might be running into that little wad that we were seeing up here
Yeah.
breaking. For those that aren't really experienced with this power pole move, everyone is amazed on how it's not only quiet below the water, but even above the water, because of the number of planetary gears that they've really engineered in this thing. It's such precision. There's no sound above it. There's no sound below it. Half the time I don't even know it's on. I have to look at the lights to see if it's even on.
CA and I caught a lot of fish on soft plastics early in the morning, and then once that bite slowed down, the wind picked up a little bit. It kind of got a little bit overcast, so I picked up a jerk bait and started throwing, and it was probably honestly the third or fourth cast, and I caught one pretty quick. There's
Nice.
Grass. Something.
It's a bass.
It is.
Catching a
It
couple.
is. Well, we transitioned here to this grass flat because it slowed down on our Kissimmee grass line over there. Started throwing the jerk baits and started picking up a couple of them here. Still no size to them, but there's got to be a big one out here somewhere.
One of the nice things about these new rods is their range of lures and types that you can throw. Like for instance, this 7.3 medium heavy, I like it for a lot of different techniques, usually bigger plugs, sometimes medium-sized swim baits with just a little bit bigger single hook. But I can also use it, it's got so much range, I can also use it just to swim a small paddle tail, like a 4-inch paddle tail, or throw maybe a small prawn stars in that 3.5 range, and it does a great job. It's really a versatile rod, probably my favorite blank in the whole series.
Got him?
I think so.
Yep.
Good. He dog boned it, didn't he?
Yeah, he did. He wanted that thing. He was going head first on that one.
Yeah. He's gonna be tricky to get out.
Yeah. That's a good sign when they're eating it like that, though, you know?
Yeah. This guy here. There he
Got
is.
him? Nice. That's a better one.
Boat flip him. Stubby. Now I know, and he knows, there are some larger bass in that lake, but because of the front and the high pressure that we were dealing with here in mid-October, it's more of a transition month. The harder we tried to catch those bigger ones, the more we catch small ones. It was just one of those days where we were wheeling lots of fish. We just weren't getting the quality that we wanted to really test those rods. So about halfway through the day, we thought, you know what? If it's not going to happen here with a 4 or 5 or 6 pound fish, we could always run over to Ozello, Florida and fish right there. It's only an hour and a half away, and spend tomorrow trying to catch some redfish or some snook or some bigger trout. It'll give us an opportunity to try probably a wider array of the lineup, and that's exactly what we did. Yesterday, you saw where I ran up to Trevor's place and picked up my brand new rods. So, couldn't help myself. We ended up dumping there in the lake and catching a couple of bass on them. But today will be the first opportunity to actually use them in saltwater. The daylight hours are getting shorter and the fish are trying to find themselves into a pattern. So today, instead of trying to fish history through my logbook and say, okay, fish will be here and fish will be there because that's where they're typically at this point in October, we primarily just focused on let's fish harder bottom areas because we were seeing fish in harder bottom areas. That's what our eyes was telling us, fish the moment. And then we also fished, honestly, where the mullet and the dolphins were, because those were good barometers of where the action would be. There we go.
Nice.
That's a nice fish. We're gonna need the net. This is a big trout. Big trout. Let's not lose this one. Ready?
Nice one. Yeah, I'm ready when you are.
Trying to keep them low.
Yep.
Oh, that's a big trout. Stand like this. Look at the size of that trout there, dude.
That's a nice one.
That one's over 4.
That's a nice one there.
One bait change. One bait change.
It didn't take long to get that bite either, did it?
Yeah, three casts. Look at the size of that trout. When you look at it, look at that. Look how healthy that is. That's like a 20, what do you think, a 21 and a half, 22 inch trout?
Yeah, for sure. That's a nice one.
Man, what a difference, huh? What a difference.
That bait change didn't take long to get one either.
And you know what rod that was on? That was on that 7.3 medium heavy. That's my favorite do-all rod. That's the fluorocarbon rod for me.
Yeah, that's a great rod for doing everything, really. That's
All
a
right.
nice one.
Let me put this one back in the water. No harm, no foul.
Nice.
Nice.
That worked out perfect.
I love it when a plan comes together.
It's quick, too.
Yeah. There he is.
Nice.
Should I bow flip him?
Let me grab the net.
Yeah. Rod release. There we go. One thing about having barbless trebles, I can get them behind the ears here, is you're able to get it that easy. That's pretty easy. Now he's not a giant trout, but he's bigger than 16. He's a legal slot trout, but he will live to see another day.
Yep.
And you go, my friend. This is not a lot different than fishing those lip jerk baits that you like to throw over there in the lake that we were at yesterday.
Yeah.
It's just, this one's not lipped and it has such a slow sink rate. It weighs about the same. Your jerk baits, your lip jerk baits were 1/2 ounce. These are 9/16. O'Shaughnessy style Trebs, you know, that keeps them hooked up. Once they're on, it's harder for them to roll off.
Yeah.
And with just a little loop knot, it has that hinging back and forth slashing action. And they're good for it. If they get a hold of this, they're good for it. I've been finding that as long as I'm willing to throw it on fluorocarbon, big trout like that don't get off. Like on braid, lots of times, a fish that large, especially close to the boat, gets off. This stuff, there's just enough rubber band effect in it, they never seem like they get off. Change is imminent. It's going to happen throughout the day. You may start off with bright conditions, it may get cloudy later, the water height is going to change, the current is going to change, the wind direction is going to change, you know, from maybe no wind to a sea breeze, and you have to make those adjustments throughout the day. And that's what we did, and it paid off with numbers of fish. Look at that. What patience. Going down with the power pole. You literally talked that fish into it. You literally talked that fish into it.
I learned from my first mistake. Set the hook too early.
That was amazing. You just stayed with it.
Yep.
I'll get this up underneath him just so he can't get out.
Yeah, I got it.
That way. Yep.
Worked out
No
perfect.
problem. The old frying pan method. I see this grass starting to heal over to the outside now, so there's obviously some flow now, some movement.
Yeah.
And these fish are now setting up to be caught. You know,
Yeah.
they know the prey has to come this way. And this is a funnel between that key and that point.
Oop.
That's a great release though.
There he is.
I mean, Russian judge probably gave that one a 9.2 or something on that dive. My favorite part of the tide is the last of the outgoing, but anytime you get a tide change, that's also one of those windows where you can really catch some fish. God, it just amazes me. One bait switch that fast. Coming your way, there's another one with them.
Yep.
There's two of them. Get in there.
I got him. I got him.
Ah,
I got him.
dude!
Oh, I lost mine. Oh. Mine's too weedless.
Anytime I can throw open jig heads, I always do.
That's the second one I've lost.
Man, that was.
You mean netting? You got him?
I think I got a good enough hook in it. This is one of those dirty jigs.
It's a nice one.
We're still on our path of catching.
Yeah, but it's better than the last one.
Yep. Pretty fish.
It was almost a double. There he is.
There we go. Nice.
Nice red.
Kind of called that one a little
Yeah,
bit.
he did.
Is he a net boy?
Yeah. He was literally sitting right where you said they would be.
Yeah. As we're trying all this product out, we have filled the cockpit full of rods.
Yeah, we got rods everywhere.
I keep changing up
Nice
because
little
I want to try that one. I want to try this one.
You've caught 2 or 3 reds today. This is my first one today. I missed that one earlier when we almost had a double.
They're super vulnerable though to swim jigs.
Yeah.
They just are. They're looking for a certain size prey, and that 4-inch bait is the perfect size. That's what they tune into. If you get the speed right, you get the size right, sometimes the color doesn't even matter.
That's right, exactly.
There we go.
Ooh.
That one got some weight right out of that little hole. Yes, sir.
That straight tail bait was the key for this one right here.
It was on this outgoing tide. That moon getting lower. Oh, yeah. Well, I feel like I learned a lot about rods and getting to try the product with you the last 2 days between the lake and then bringing it out here for Inshore. I mean, it's the best sweet and salty combo you could have.
Yeah, absolutely.
I learned a lot about the actions, what I can get away with. Look at this bronze beauty here.
Woo!
That's a good one.
That's a nice fish.
Yeah.
Nice. Nice work.
That is a good one. Got him right in the maw. Yes. Pay dirt. On the old beer
Beautiful
run.
fish.
On the old beer run. Well, I think this guy sends us back to the ramp. Let's get him in the water here. Off he goes. That was a great 2 days of fishing. I learned a ton about the product.
I enjoyed it. It was a lot of fun.
It was, and you know, to get to actually finally test it after all the design process and all the talk about it, getting it out here in the field, it's nice to see the fruits of our labor. I got a good feeling about this series. I think we're going to do well with it. I'm excited for sure.
Our hard work is definitely going to pay off with this series. I think everybody's just absolutely going to love them.
I'll tell you what, we stuck a lot of fish on this first set of rods, didn't we?
Yeah, we did. Yep, saltwater and freshwater.
Well, let's head back to the ramp.
Sounds good
Call
to me.
it a day.
Let's do it.
All right, Flats Class fans, this is a rare opportunity. I've got my friend here, Trevor Fitzgerald from Fitzgerald Rods, and when you got the rod manufacturer here that helped with the design process with me on these new Inshore rods for Flats Class, when we say it was designed for Inshore, it was designed to throw specific Inshore lures. We looked at the most popular lure choices that most of us throw, the swim baits, the paddle tails, the jerk shads that are Texas rigged, the twitch baits like Miradines, topwater plugs like the dog series from Miralure. We looked at the most popular blanks that would be perfect for throwing these, and this is what we came up with after a lot of field testing.
Yeah, we, you know, as far as the guides, it's all 3/16 American Tackle stainless steel guides. So it's a way better quality guide frame using that American Tackle 3/16. We also integrated the American Tackle reel seats, which we feel give you the best comfort, feel, but more importantly, sensitivity.
Right.
You know, you have a lot of exposure, even on the spinning seat here, you have a lot of exposure directly close to the blank. And on the casting rods, even more. You know, you've got a 3K carbon insert here that really just kind of magnifies the sensitivity of the rod.
I like to palm my reels, but I do like to feel the hit through the blank, and it goes right into that reel seat because you're actually touching the blank underneath with that carbon piece.
Yep. Even all the way down to the high quality cork that we chose. I mean, a lot of us that saltwater fish really enjoy the cork handles.
We do.
You know? And it's kind of a thing that's going away for a lot of rods. You know, a lot of companies are getting away from cork, honestly, because the cost of it. When you design something like as specific and as nice as this, you want to go all out. You know, we spared no expense when it comes to this series. If you have vertical rod holders, a lot of guys do on their skiffs, you know, you're not going to chip your cork.
That's right.
You know, we honestly prefer the split grip versus like a full cork because of that. It's a lot more durable. And to be honest, it balances the rod and gives you a lot more sensitivity. A lot of people don't realize that when you have a full length cork handle, that deadens a lot of your sensitivity.
And the same thing goes with the advent of us using more and more fluorocarbon, straight fluorocarbon line in our game now. It's really important to have that sensitivity.
We took a play from our bass book on this series too. You know, we went with a hook keeper that we utilize on the majority of our bass rods that we offer now. Most saltwater rods just have the hoops, you know, mostly on the left side to keep it from tangling, which we know it still tangles from time to time.
It does.
And so that's why we chose this location on the top, is to prevent you know, that line from looping over and getting hung.
Well, I think we gave a really good test of final product, and I'm super excited. How many offerings do we have? We have 9 offerings
9.
in this lineup. That's
You
right.
know.
We've got them from Ned rigs, so if you want to throw a saltwater Ned rig, all the way up to throwing like a 6-inch line through Mullotron or any of the giant swim baits for Snook.
Yeah.
We've got everything in between. We have thought of every group of rods, both casting and spinning. So I feel really confident that all of you are going to really enjoy the new Flats Class rods that will be dropping pretty soon now.
Yep.
Yeah.
It'll be very soon.
Big thanks to Trevor Fitzgerald. The guy has just been a bastion of information for me on rod design. I've learned so much from him in the past year. There's a lot of components and a lot of things that go into the design process and how you build a rod, not only that performs well, but has the longevity to give the consumer a really good experience. So much of this game is marketing, but when you actually sit down with someone like Trev and get to plan it through the whole process, which is a rare deal, you don't see that with bigger brands, and get to pick exactly what you want and design it for a particular bait or a particular style, that's just not that common. And to have that opportunity with him was great. I enjoyed fishing with him. And I learned a lot about bass fishing because he did hand it to me on the water there. That is a tricky, tricky game. A lot of slackline fishing, which is a tough game to learn when you're a tight line fisherman in inshore all the time. So a lot of good stuff was gleaned out of this episode for me and hopefully for all of you too.